Hi everyone, so if you're new here, I'm Damaris and I created Rainbow Vegans Rock, and on my channel I talk about vegan lifestyle and sustainable living. So I think there's a common misconception in the zero waste world that it costs a lot more money to be zero waste. I did do a video back along where I discussed, is the zero waste lifestyle just for the privileged? I'll leave a link to the video here in case you've not seen it. And to some degree, I do think that certain parts of the zero waste lifestyle might not be attainable to everyone. Someone I follow on Instagram was asking recently, what do you think stops people from living sustainably? And a lot of the answers were actually time and money. So for example, if you make everything from scratch at home, of course that will save you quite a bit of money, but it does take a lot of time as well. I do appreciate that not everyone will be able to do this. That being said, I thought I would just show you some main things that I do that save me quite a bit of money. So the first one is cloth sanitary pads and menstrual cups. So I've got several cloth sanitary pads. I've got some like these, which I think are just, I want to say microfiber maybe, and some that are actually homemade. So I didn't make these, but my mum did. So she made these, and all it is a waterproof backing. I can't think what else you would call it. And there's just several of these inserts that go into it. So of course not everybody will be able to make some themselves or get anybody to make them for them. But like I said, I do have these, which I did buy, and I think it might have been a pack of 3 of these. And I know that there's a lot of different places that you can get various funky patterns with cloth sanitary pads these days. So it is worth looking around. I would say they are probably my favourite to use because they're comfortable, and as I'm doing washes of cloth nappies, it's not a big deal to me to sort of throw in this when I'm already doing a load of washing anyway. So as well as cloth sanitary pads, you can also get cups. Now of course cups might not be for everyone. I know a lot of people just generally get put off by the idea of a cup, and I guess I sort of understand that. So the beauty of a cup is that you can leave it in for up to 12 hours and you don't get that sort of icky feeling that you would with cloth sanitary pads or anything like that. So it's really good, even though it is a little bit off-putting to start with. I think it's worth a try, and these are great obviously because they will just last years and years, and you just sterilize them. So put them in boiling water between periods, so it's completely sanitary, hygienic, and overall just a great way of collecting blood. So you can of course also get period underwear, but I haven't personally tried that yet. I do plan to at some stage, but at the moment I'm quite happy with my setup. Although there's the initial cost for cloth sanitary pads and for menstrual cups, they do save you a lot of money in the long term. So say you had 13 cycles a year and you usually spend say around £3 or $3 on tampons or pads or whatever you use, that would be around £39 for the year. So if you bought a menstrual cup, for example, that's about that price usually, between £30 to £40, and that will last you years and years. So it will have paid for itself after the first year. But I do understand that not everybody will be fortunate enough to front that money to start with. So I will completely say that now. I understand that not everyone will have that spare money to spend out for them, basically. The same applies for cloth pads, of course. I don't think they're particularly expensive, but again, if you bought, say, 3 to start your collection and they were around £8, which wouldn't be completely unreasonable for a cloth sanitary pad, then of course that's like £21 to start with, and even that you would have to be frequently washing to make sure you had enough for your period. So I do understand that, but again, long term you are saving so much money. Even better if you can get somebody to make them for you, of course. But yes, this is a great saving. So the next thing I have is hankies. So I was given a load of hankies from my mum, actually. When she cleared out my nan and granddad's house, they had a whole stack of hankies, and I'm assuming she kept some for herself, but she also gave me a whole stack of these brown ones. And so I don't ever need to buy any facial tissues, anything like that. I just use hankies for myself and my children, and I just put them in the wash. Now I know that not everyone will be particularly happy with using a hanky, but honestly, it's hygiene-wise, it's no different than sort of pants and socks. And obviously you trust that when you wash them, they're going to get clean. So to me, this is kind of the same. Like, okay, you use it on your nose, but you put it in the wash and it cleans it. It gets rid of the bacteria. So it's not like they're unhygienic, if you know what I mean. But yes, I can see that perhaps this might not be one for everyone. But personally, I love these. I just think they're brilliant. If I'm going anywhere, I always make sure that I have one for the snotty children, of course. And I just find them so convenient. And of course, because we're not buying facial tissues, it saves me a lot of money. So the next one I have is reusable water bottles. So this might seem a bit of an obvious one. Of course, when in the zero waste sustainable world, reusable water bottles are talked about a lot. But when you think about it, if you're going out somewhere or you're going to work, as long as you have your reusable water bottle, you shouldn't ever need to buy any of the single-use plastic water bottles, because you can just fill this up. There's even an app called Refill that you can get as well, and that tells you wherever you are if there's local refill stations, somewhere that you can refill your water bottle. So obviously this is to help reduce the plastic waste. So I thought that was quite a great idea. And because you're not constantly buying these bottles of water, it will save you in the long run. So of course I do appreciate this is a Clean Canteen bottle, which is my personal absolute favourite. I love Clean Canteen bottles. My son's one has been thrown around, it's been dropped countless times, and although it's dented, it hasn't ever leaked, ever. So I'm really impressed with the Clean Canteen bottles, and I would recommend them to everyone. But of course, it's about finding the one that you want and the one that you like, so do have a look around. So of course you will have the initial cost for the bottle, but once you've got it, it should last forever. So in that respect, it will pay for itself. So another great one for saving money is using flannels and cloths and that sort of thing for taking off your makeup or washing faces, or even for cleaning. So I use this flannel for taking off my makeup at the end of the day and washing my face. I can't really remember what this is made from. I think it's made from bamboo, if I remember correctly, because to start with, it was quite soft. Now it's not quite so soft anymore, but that's probably just due to, washing it every couple of days. But as you can see, this has been washed recently. There's no sort of stains from makeup or anything on there, but this is just perfect. I just use a cleanser and then use this to clean my makeup off. And then, like I said, I just put it in the wash a couple of times a week. I think I've mentioned it before on my channel as well, but I also use my old breast pads for like toner and other sort of skincare. So these are what I use, and both of them were my old breast pads. But in all fairness, if you bought, say, a set of these washable pads on the internet anywhere, the cotton ones are likely to be very similar to this anyway, so I figured that I'm making full use of them, so it just works well for me. And like I said, I use these for sort of toner and that sort of thing, and they work really great. So of course, general, like I said, in the kitchen as well, cloths are great for cleaning. So I've never been one of those people that uses those disposable sponges or those throwaway cloths either. I've just always found the whole idea of them extremely wasteful, so I haven't used those personally. I've always used sort of microfiber cloths or something like that to clean. But of course, if you don't buy these sort of throwaway things, so if you're not buying kitchen towels, no, what are they called? Paper kitchen roll, I think it's called. I've just gone completely blank. Yeah, you know what I mean anyway. So the paper kitchen roll that you have, if you're not buying that and you're not buying sort of facial tissues, that sort of thing, you just save so much money in the long run. So yes, you just save so much money in the long run. I just think it would be literally like throwing money away if you were buying the paper towels and things like that. I just think it's so incredibly wasteful when you don't need to, you know? So the next one that really saves me so much money is cloth nappies. So of course, if you don't have children or anything like that, feel free to skip past this chapter. I understand it won't necessarily be relevant to everyone. So cloth nappies instead of disposable nappies are just so much better. They save you so much money and waste, of course. I've done a video before on cloth nappies, but it was quite a while ago, so I'm sure there's a lot of good information in the video, but it was a while ago that I filmed it, so I'm gonna guess that it's probably quite cringy now, but I will link it here in case it is helpful to you in any way. So my first lot of cloth nappies that I received were given to me, and they were the sort of from newborn nappies at the time. So the next ones that I bought were some secondhand little lamb nappies, and they saw us through for that little bit longer and they worked amazingly. So although cloth nappies in general will be a little bit more expensive, it's more of an investment when you're buying them. But the next lot of nappies that I bought was some pocket nappies. I did actually buy these new on eBay, which I obviously wouldn't do again because it's likely that they were not made particularly ethically. But the nappies that I bought were around £2.50 per nappy, and then you just had to buy a couple of packs of inserts to go in them. And these nappies, I built up a few more in the collection to make my life easier when my son was still in nappies, and I'm still using these same nappies with my little girl, so they will have done 2 children, and of course there's some sort of flaws with some of them, some of the poppers have come off, that sort of thing, but overall they've done amazingly. And when I think just how many packs of disposable nappies I would have bought over the last 5 years or so, that's just crazy. That's so much waste, and I've obviously saved so much money from doing it the way I did as well. So if you buy say 10 to 15, then that is more than enough to get you going, just so you can find out what sort of works for you. So another thing which has saved me quite a bit of money is having my own sort of makeshift bidet. So I did actually used to do family cloth a couple of years ago. So what that means is I was living in a different house, rented accommodation, same as this one in fact, but I used to have like an old washing up bottle, like an old plastic squeezy washing up bottle, and I cut up an old pair of pyjamas and to use them as cloths basically. So this is what I used to do, and I think I did it for quite a while. I want to say maybe a year. And the only reason I stopped doing this was just really because of the amount of time that it takes. You have to make sure that you've got a constant supply of these cloths and make sure that you're on top of washing them as well. So that's kind of why I stopped doing it before I had my baby girl, was just because I don't know if it's worth the inconvenience with having to constantly wash cloth and all of that really. So before my baby girl was born, I just thought I would stop that just to make my life a little bit easier, because I knew that once she was born, she would be in cloth nappies and I'd have to be constantly washing those. So I just wanted to just make my life easier basically. So I stopped doing it. But what I do now is I still use like a makeshift bidet in the bathroom, and I do dry with toilet paper. I'll probably do a video soon actually where I just go into a bit more detail about family cloth and bidets, because I haven't really talked about that much on my channel, but it is something that I think is quite a good sort of zero waste thing to do. And fortunately in this house the toilet is actually relatively close to the sink, so this just makes it much easier really that I can use it. It just makes it easier, and I can just clean myself when I go to the toilet, and then I just use toilet paper to dry. But obviously because you've already basically cleaned yourself, you use much less toilet paper than you would usually, so it does save money. I would like to go back to using family cloth at some stage, but I'm just debating about the inconvenience really, whether it is worth it, because the toilet paper that I buy is bamboo and it's by Cheeky Panda, it's B Corporation. I'll link to the video where I talk about the sort of eco toilet papers that I've tried. So I'm happy with the one that I'm using, so I'm not sure whether it'll just be a waste and creating more work for myself. But just in general, having this tap connector and being able to clean myself, it does of course save money like I said. And this might be a bit too much information, but I definitely notice if I go somewhere where I'm not able to do my usual toilet system, my bum just doesn't like it. So if you're enjoying my video so far, please do like and subscribe, because that does really help me out as a small YouTuber. So the next one that I think saves me quite a bit of money is my eco egg. So I was really fortunate that my mum replaced her eco egg with an antibacterial one, and so she gave me her old one. So if you've not heard of an eco egg, they've got like a plastic casing. Hold on, let me just grab it. Okay, so it makes much more sense for me to have it here if I'm talking about it. So this is the eco egg. It's got a plastic casing, and inside it's got like mineral pellets that sort of rub together and basically wash your clothes. So it's sort of minimal irritation, so it's good for people that suffer with skin irritations, that sort of thing, because there's no sort of harsh cleansers or anything in here. When you first get it, you've got like these black sort of pellets which always stay in there, and just every so many washes you just have to top it up with the white pellets. And it does have a fragrance, but it's not a strong fragrance sort of thing, so when you wash your clothes you won't be able to smell the fragrance on your clothes. It's very, very faint. Yeah, so this works out fine for me. So I wouldn't use these on cloth nappies or anything like that, because I just don't think that they would do the job quite so well. But for general washing and doing bedding, that sort of thing, it works perfectly fine. But I'm so impressed with how well this works, and of course this will last for goodness knows how many years. I'm sure they've got some sort of date on them, but I've had this for at least 5 years, and because it's strong, you know, I don't see there would ever be a need to replace it, which is good, obviously. You just need to, every now and then, make sure you've got enough of the mineral pellets, but they don't cost a huge amount of money themselves. So overall, it's a really great laundry switch, definitely. So my next tip is buying things secondhand. So if you've watched my videos before, you'll know that I talk about buying things secondhand a lot. You know, most of my videos are sort of promoting how great buying secondhand is environmentally and of course for saving money, and I do actually mention this in my frugal tips that are also sustainable video. But in general, buying majority of things secondhand will save you money. Of course there will be exceptions, and I guess certain things might not necessarily be as cheap. For example, sometimes I know clothes, you have to be careful because thrifting clothes, sometimes in, say, thrift stores, we call them charity shops in the UK, if we go to a charity shop, sometimes some of the tops, whatever, are quite overpriced for what they are, so you need to be careful of that. But in general, most things that you buy secondhand, you'll be saving money. So furniture is one. So if you buy technical items such as smartphones, other devices, other sort of equipment, then you will definitely save money from buying it secondhand or refurbished. So my mobile phone was refurbished. I want to say it was maybe grade B, which is fairly good, and I'm completely pleased with it. And obviously it's cheaper because it was refurbished as well. So yes, definitely buying secondhand will save you money, and it's just a better way of doing things these days. So my quote this week is, if you think you are too small to make a difference, try sleeping with a mosquito. And that's a Dalai Lama quote. And I thought that one was just really funny and also so true. I think it might be one of my favourite quotes ever. Because I think we've all been in that situation sometimes when there's a mosquito in the room and you're trying to sleep and it's just driving you insane. I think most people will have been there. So thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video.